Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. In today's episode, we venture deep into the rugged wilderness of Montana's Gallatin Range, near an area called Hidden Lakes. This range, part of the larger Rocky Mountain system, stretches from Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming up into Montana, with its towering peaks and dense forests providing a habitat for an array of wildlife, including grizzly bears. This remote region of the Custer-Gallatin National Forest is well known for its rugged beauty, attracting outdoor enthusiasts, hunters, and adventurers alike. The Gallatin Range is part of a thriving ecosystem that supports not only grizzly bears, but also a wide variety of other wildlife. The forest is dense with lodgepole pine, Douglas fir, and Engelmann spruce, trees that provide shelter and food for animals like moose, elk, and deer. The predators here include bobcats, black bears, coyotes, cougars, wolves, and grizzly bears. Montana's backcountry is characterized by a cold, temperate climate with long winters and short, mild summers. Snow can fall as early as September in the higher elevations, and by October, temperatures are already dropping significantly. This is a critical time of year for grizzly bears, as they must consume enough food to survive the long winter months in hibernation. The shortening days and colder temperatures signal to the bears that it's time to bulk up, which leads them to increase their activity as they search for calorie-rich food sources. In the fall, the bears feast on an array of berries, including huckleberries and service berries, as well as roots and nuts that help sustain them through hibernation. This seasonal pattern also aligns with hunting season, putting hunters and bears on a collision course. Elk calls, animal scents, and even the sound of a hunter moving through the brush can attract bears looking for an easy meal. Game is plentiful and hunting productive, which makes it a popular spot for hunters. However, where there are elk, there are often predators. Grizzly bears are known to scavenge from hunter kills, and the scent of a freshly killed elk or deer can attract bears from miles away. Hunters are advised to be particularly cautious when field dressing game, as leaving a carcass unattended can quickly lead to a dangerous situation. Fall is a particularly active time for grizzlies in Montana, as they enter a state of hyperphagia, a period in which bears consume vast amounts of food in preparation for winter hibernation. It is during this time that encounters between humans and bears tend to peak, as bears aggressively forage for anything that will help them survive the long winter. On the afternoon of October 5th, 2024, a hunter, whom we will call Tim, was tracking game in the backcountry of the Gallatin Range. He had risen early and aimed his efforts on a promising stand of timber he had been keeping an eye on. As Tim eased through the trees, carefully examining the ground for any sign of game, a dark shadow suddenly appeared in the periphery of his vision. Tim slowly turned his head, and his eyes focused on the most terrifying thing a hunter could imagine. A large sow grizzly and her two large cubs were standing only 40 yards or so away from the hunter. Now Tim knew he couldn't make any quick movements without attracting the sow's attention. He slowly tried to pull himself into the shadows just before the sow's head snapped in his direction. As soon as she made out his silhouette, the sow thundered toward Tim in a furious act of defense of herself and her cubs. Tim was no dummy when it came to hunting in grizzly country. I could find no source indicating what kind or caliber of pistol he carried, but as soon as the sow charged, he pulled his pistol out. Tim fired off a round in the sow's direction, and his aim was true, but not immediately fatal. The sow twisted and growled as the bullet burned its way through her flesh. Tim immediately turned and pulled himself into a tree and climbed as far as he could into its limbs. As the hunter clung to the tree limbs, the angry and wounded sow was growling and pacing beneath him. He hoped she would gather her cubs and depart, but seconds turned into minutes, and minutes turned into the better part of an hour without the grizzly leaving. She seemed hell-bent on getting at him and having a little revenge of her own. As the sow chuffed and growled beneath the tree, Tim decided he would try to use his cell phone to call for help. He pressed the button and the screen lit up as he searched the reception indicator. He didn't exactly have 5 bars of reception, but he had enough to contact 911 and tell authorities of his predicament. Responding swiftly, Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks and the Gallatin County Sheriff Search and Rescue teams deployed a helicopter to the hunter's location. Upon arrival, the FWP personnel found the wounded bear still near the tree where the hunter had sought refuge. The team safely landed the helicopter and, following standard procedures for human-bear conflicts, dispatched the injured grizzly. Concerned for the cubs' welfare, the officers made several passes in search of them, but were unable to find hide nor hair of them. They'd fled the scene after their mother was injured and would likely survive on their own given their age and size. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes. And the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. The hunter, despite his terrifying ordeal, was unharmed. He was extracted from the scene by a helicopter and transported to safety. His quick thinking, firearm, and ability to remain calm under pressure undoubtedly saved his life. This incident, while rare, underscores the importance of being prepared and aware when venturing into bear country. Montana has seen an increase in bear-human conflicts over the past few decades as the grizzly bear population rebounds, thanks to conservation efforts. The Greater Yellowstone ecosystem, which includes parts of Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, is home to one of the largest remaining populations of grizzly bears in the contiguous United States. With more bears roaming these wild areas, the likelihood of encounters with humans has increased, particularly during the fall hunting season. According to Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks, the state sees several bear attacks each year, though fatal encounters remain rare. Most attacks occur when bears are surprised by humans, often at close range. Bears with cubs are especially dangerous, as maternal instinct drives them to defend their young at all costs. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks emphasizes the importance of carrying bear spray, especially for hunters who venture into bear territory. Bear spray is a non-lethal deterrent that has been proven highly effective in stopping charging bears, but critics say it has its limitations. It is weather dependent, meaning that cold temperatures and high winds can limit its efficacy, and ensuring you have time to discharge it properly is impossible. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Can a balance be struck between the safety of hunters and the existence of grizzlies in the backcountry? Would bear spray have changed the outcome of this attack? Do you think authorities need to kill all 3 bears since the cubs had witnessed the attack? I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below, and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.